Greetings, YouTube! The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And today we are talking about the spell Befuddlement. I know we've got the spell Feeblemind up here. This is the legacy version. They decided to change the name to Befuddlement. So we're going to talk about this spell, which we've already reviewed a while ago. And then we're going to talk about the changes that happened to this spell in the new Befuddlement spell, which is a pretty big nerf to start out with. And then we're going to go through some of the previous versions from Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition and 3rd Edition. So lots to go through, lots to do, lots to see, lots to talk about. Stay tuned and don't go away. All right, before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. Don't forget to share this video, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right, let me get my hand on the mouse here, and we will go through this. This is Feeblemind, the legacy version from 2014. It was an 8th level spell that was usable by bards, druids, warlocks, and wizards, but not sorcerers. One action, range of 150 feet, verbal, somatic, material components. Material component was worthless, so we don't care about that. It was intelligence, saving throw, enchantment. So you blasted a creature you can see within range. You have to see them, and they automatically took damage. So 46 psychic damage. That was hard to get around. And then they had to make an intelligence save, which is if you are a caster, that is the best saving throw that you want to target. That is the one that is the hardest to overcome. If they failed that save, the creature's intelligence and charisma scores become 1. The creature cannot cast spells, it cannot activate magic items, it cannot understand language or communicate in any intelligible way. The creature can, however, identify its friends, follow them, and even protect them. And then every 30 days, it got another saving throw. If it succeeded, then the spell was over with, and then you could get rid of this with a greater restoration, heal, or wish. All right, so that spell was pretty nasty, and we gave it a solid A. This was a solid spell. You could cast this against basically any of your spellcasters, and then they would be done. It was also a very nasty spell to use on players for DMs. If you cast this on a player who was a spellcaster, then they were pretty much done. All right, so let's get to the new one, which is called Befuddlement. And this has been nerfed pretty badly. So it's an 8th level spell. It has still 1 action casting time, still 150-foot range, still verbal, somatic, and material component. The material component is a little bit different. So this one had a handful of clay, crystal, glass, or mineral spheres. This one had a key with no keys on it, a key ring with no keys. So a little bit different, still worthless, didn't matter. So you still blasted the mind of a creature you can see within range. Now it has to initially make an intelligence saving throw. So it doesn't take damage right off the bat, but it does have to make an intelligence saving throw. If it fails it, it takes 10d12 psychic damage, and it cannot cast spells or take the magic action. At the end of every 30 days, the target repeats the save, ending the effect on a success. Greater restoration, heal, and wish to get rid of it. On a successful save, the target only takes half damage. So, here's the nerf. In Feeblemind, did damage without a saving throw. This one does half. Now, the half damage it does is still more damage than the original spell. So that's kind of a wash. With Feeblemind, if you failed the saving throw, your charisma went to 1 and your intelligence went to 1. This does not do that. You are not able to cast spells. This does that. You are not able to activate magic items. So not all magic items require the magic action. So that is a nerf. You couldn't talk you couldn't understand anything. This one doesn't do that. So this effectively just takes out spellcasters and anything tied to the magic action. That's it. So a nerf, to say the least, but still a pretty nasty spell. So we're going to move this spell to an A-. It just isn't what it was. And the damage part is not the part that makes this spell nasty. It was the charisma and intelligence of 1. It was the ability to communicate, which is gone. It was the ability to interact and activate magic items. That's no longer in here. So those are all pretty big nerfs. Now, let's talk about the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons version. Here it is right here. We're going to get rid of our rating scheme. So here it is right here, Feeblemind. It was a 6th level druid spell and a 5th level wizard magic user spell, which is wizard. And you cast this. It had a range of 16 inches, which is essentially 160 feet. Causes the victim's brain to become that of a moronic child. The victim remains in this state until a heal, restoration, or wish. So that has carried over throughout all the editions. The spell is of such a nature that the probability of it affecting the target creature is generally enhanced. Saving throws are lowered. So basically, they became like a 1-year-old, and then that was it. And then they got bonuses on their saving throw based off of, or negatives on their saving throw based off of the type of creature that it was. So if you were a illusionist, you got a -5 to your saving throw. All right. So here is the 2nd edition version of this. And again, this was a wizard priest spell. So enchantment, 10 yards a level for range. 1 creature causes the subject's intellect to degenerate to that of a moronic child. They basically just carried that over from Gary Gygax's verbiage. And heal or wish is required. No greater restoration now. Magic using beings are very vulnerable to this spell. Their saving throws are made with a penalty. So there it is right there. And then the 3rd edition version of this spell is down here. So sorcerer wizard spell of 5th level. So no druid now, just sorcerer wizard. Standard action, 1 creature had a pretty long range and will negated. If the target fails a will save, its intelligence and charisma drops to 1. So this is the first time we see a mechanic associated with an ability score. So that's where that came from in the legacy version. And then it says giving it roughly the intellect of a lizard. The affected creature is unable to use intelligence or charisma-based skills. That was another thing that is missing from the Befuddlement spell. That was in the legacy version. If your charisma and your intelligence went down to 1, all of the skills associated with that also took a huge penalty, and now that's gone in Befuddlement. So they also couldn't cast spells, understand languages, or communicate coherently. It knows who its friends are, so that, that carried over. And then subject remains in the state until heal, limited wish, miracle, or wish is used. And a creature can cast arcane spells such as a sorcerer or wizard takes a -4 penalty to its saving throw. So this one lasted not every 30 days. It lasted until you cast one of those spells on it. So that made it pretty powerful. Whereas the legacy version and Befuddlement were every 30 days. And then Befuddlement took the charisma and wisdom of 1 away. So this still allows a lot of skills to be used, unfortunately. So it's quite a bit of damage, but it's 65 points of damage on average. And then it takes a big piece of that character away. All right, that is what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everyone